everybody, and welcome back to another edition of The Coach's Call. And I got some familiar faces with me. You might know them from our other work on It's Not the Ref. But we're doing The Coach's Call, and we're going to talk some Kirby Dach. Welcome back, Brian. Hey, Rolly. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing good. Good.
Kirby Dach. So, Brian, you and I are in a lifetime hockey pool.
Yep.
And you're away, and you say, hey, Guido, can you take care of my team while I'm away? Because we have the kickoff of the season. And, you know, we're doing the drafting or whatever. And you say, here's a list of players I want to trade or drop or whatever. And okay. And you won last year. You were the champion.
Yep.
So we're it's 5 rounds, Rolly. We're 5 rounds of this hockey pool thing. But you get to keep the players that you had last year, and you're kind of dropping and picking up.
Right.
So one of the other guys in the pool, Brian's got his last pick and he doesn't want to use it. So I say, anybody want Brian's pick? And I'm playing with his money because it costs $5 to trade somebody or to pick somebody or something like that. So I'm playing with Brian's money when he's not here. Anyways, one of the other guys in the pool says, would you be interested in Kirby Dach? And I said, yeah, Brian would be interested in Kirby Dach.
He just wants to give me some Habs. That's all it is.
Now,
trying to turn red.
Here's the cool thing. All right. The guy I made the deal with a few years ago, I had a 5th round pick that I didn't want. And I said, anybody want my 5th round pick? And he says, yeah, I'll take it. Who do you want? I go, who do you want to give me? And he goes, are you interested in this guy, Leon Draisaitl? So keeping my cool, right? Because Leon wasn't Leon in the NHL yet, right? But I've always wanted him. I had wanted to pick him and I didn't get him, right? So I'm like, well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Well, all right, okay. I'll take Draisaitl. And it was the same thing with Kirby Dach this year. I was like, I don't know if he wants it, but he's not here. So okay, fine, I'll take Kirby Dach. And it's just I had this feeling. I had this feeling on Kirby Dach. I was like, he was only 3 seasons in Chicago. And it was Chicago, and they kind of went through some weird things the last few years, right?
Yeah.
Now he's in Montreal, and he's played 14 games, and he's got 12 points.
They had a great game the other night.
Yep.
Great game the other night.
Yeah.
Hey, the only guy I'm sad that I gave up, and remember I told you we tried to swing a deal with him, was Carter Hart.
I know.
Because I thought, this guy, he did nothing for me last year.
I know. I did the same thing with Linus. I did the same thing with Linus Ulmer.
Yeah, he's won 6 games already, so didn't see that coming. But
so get this: the Canadiens traded for Kirby Dach with Chicago, but they ended up giving up. They ended up getting picks. They ended up giving up Romanov, which was one of their go-to defensemen the last couple of years. They got picks, and then they flipped the picks, and they ended up getting Kirby Dach from the Chicago Blackhawks because they were looking for a second-line center.
Yeah, that's a good pickup. You know what? Montreal's turning it around. I'm gonna tell you that. I've been catching up and watching some highlights and reading a little bit. Having been away from the sport for the last few weeks, but they look to be turning it around. They're out of the basement, that's for sure.
They're kind of in between. If you're a Habs fan, you might not want them to do as well as they're doing.
Well, everyone's looking at
right?
That lottery pick. It's the jackpot. It's the generational pick next year, that's for sure, with Bedard. So
I think that's what folks are going like. Oh, please, not right now. Stop playing so well, right?
Doc's on a good line. I mean, he's playing with Suzuki and Caulfield, and they're on fire right now. So yeah, it's a good line for Montreal. They're all young. I think they're still like this year's.
You know what the weird part about that is, though, is that they picked up Kirby Dach to be a center.
Mm-hmm.
But he's on a line where Nick Suzuki is the center, and he's playing wing along with Caulfield.
Hey,
and the reason they were able to do that, and you're gonna like this, Brian, one of your other guys, they got Sean Monahan.
Yep.
And he's filled in that second line center role.
So you'll recall this because I was texting you from Germany when I was there,
Right.
and my initial list had Monahan on it to drop because I'm looking at what he did on Calgary, and then I'm starting to look at some of the preseason games,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing some of the write-ups, and they're going, Monahan's clicking and change of scenery, working out, like all these glowing things about Monahan, and I went, yeah, but he's a hab. Then I went, nah, but you know what? I got to drop that. And I remember I sent you an email and said, okay, change your heart. Let Carter Hart go and keep Monahan.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed because I was thinking if you were going to drop Monahan, I was going to pick him up. So
Yeah, no, that was a good. So
Yeah.
listen, I'm rooting for the Habs now because I got 2 key players on my fantasy league. So
well, hey, and you know what? Like we said, hey, we're going to talk Kirby Dach today, and that was really it. Just pointing out, like, look at like this kid, who when you look at his stats with Chicago the last few years, you know, he had 23 points, 10 points, and 26 points. And that was through 64, 18, and 70 games. Now he's in Montreal. He's playing with 2 dynamic players. And who knows, like, is it going to last? Is this another Max Domi sort of surgence being in a new team? It feels a little different than the Max Domi thing to me.
Yeah.
I think it will be. I think he's found the chemistry that works, and that, you know what, it happens with players.
Yeah.
And you know, do I think
Without the right ingredients, they're mediocre, and then all of a sudden that right ingredient, whether it's a centerman or someone, and it's the hockey chemistry, probably some of the personality chemistry, and it just clicks and it puts them in a good place, and they perform.
I think it's the coach too. I think Marty St. Louis has a lot to do with all the players. With all the players there, he's kind of giving them a boost, a lift, and letting them play and say, "Let's have fun."
Hey, you know what, Rolly? It's funny when we talked about this on one of the it was either It's Not the Ref or one of our earlier shows when that move was made, and we were all kind of questioning it. It was a big roll of the dice for the Habs, right? You know, people were making the most he's coached is Pee Wee or Bantam or what have you, and hey, they took a gamble and they really looked. And again, I think it comes down to personality and the attitude and I think that's what he had. He had a winning attitude. He had the pedigree as a player, and I think he had I think he commands respect, and I think that's a huge thing for a coach. And I think a coach that's played in the NHL has a little bit of an advantage in getting that respect from their players.
You know what the thing with St. Louis too was that, and I was skeptical at first too. I think what's really boosted him is that it was not easy for him. He had a hard time breaking into the NHL, so he understands all that. He was demoted, I don't know how many times. Like, so he had to fight to get in initially, and then he, blossomed with Tampa. But it was hard for him to get in. And I forget how many teams he was with too, because he had a hard time getting in. But he understands all that. Yeah.
I got some Habs trivia for you. Who's there? A question from the 2 Habs experts. Who's taller, Martin St. Louis or Brendan Gallagher?
I don't know.
Or Cole Caulfield.
Or Cole Caulfield.
Yeah. Answers that we will, questions and answers we'll have to have at another time. For now, the DACH-ter is in the house in Montreal. Catch you on the next episode.